Hello, guys. Good evening. Welcome back to the Project Offbeat podcast, the show wherein we cover the most unconventional and what we would call offbeaten careers out there. And of course, Matt, amazing season that we've had so far. I'm glad to tell you that this will be our last episode shoot for this season. And it excites me to tell you, Matt, that we have a guest that has an amazing resume and an amazing career as well, Matt. May hula ka ba? May hula ka ba?
Nasobrahan na tayo sa industry na 'to, eh, pero I think it's because we find it so interesting rin, eh. It's all about sports with us, 'no?
Exactly. Matt, today I'm glad to actually take the industry of one of my cousins, no? Who's actually taking on parang sports science yung career niya, and she has this great professor with a
Mm.
background in strength and conditioning, no? And our guest today, no, has a master's in science in movement science. She's also
Mm.
he's also a strength and conditioning coach for the UST Growling Tigers, right? Fresh off that UAAP season, no. And he's also a previous chairman of the sports science department of the College of Rehabilitation Science in UST, no. So Matt, I love the resume of this guest because it's a mix of that academe background, but also that practical background, a mix of theoretical and and practical, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gumagawa siya for a great team in the USC Growling Tigers, but also teaching classes, no, and teaching everything about sports science, no. So he's also actually worked with Coach Pido Harencio, right?
Mm.
Who's
I
actually
see.
a bona fide coach, great resume, coached in the PBA, coached in the UAAP as well, right? So, real good stuff here, no. But Matt, anyways, without further ado, let's bring into the call Coach Ryle Espino. Um, he will join us today to talk about the career, of a strength and conditioning coach.
Hi, good
Hi,
evening.
Coach Rail. Good evening, Coach Rail. Hello po.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the invitation.
Ayun. Thank you, Coach Rail. No, I guess first of all, Coach Rail, before you got into this shoot, I'm sure busy kayo, Coach. Anong pinagkaabalahan niyo, sir, before this shoot?
Basically, I'm taking my doctorate degree ngayon. And I'm on the last part of my dissertation. I'm actually doing
Wow.
my main study, data gathering for my main study. So, a bit busy with a lot of writing and taking measurements and assessment for my participants in the study.
Great stuff, sir, no. Actually, Matt, yun yung sobra ako na interest kay Coach Ryle, no. When I looked at when I googled you, Coach, no, you had some publications or maybe articles, scholarly articles in ResearchGate, right? And that interested me a lot, no, Coach. Earlier you mentioned you were taking masters in I think tama, sir, sports science, human movement science. Tama
Yes,
po
that
ba?
was my master's degree in UP
Ay,
Diliman.
ayun. Coach, I wanna ask, no, could you give us a gist of ano yung pinag-aaralan in this industriya, even in this masters, no? Para lang maintindihan namin why should there be scholars in this field, right? And
Mhm.
how important it is.
Okay, well, basically, sa sports science, we still consider it as a new course or a new career here in the Philippines. Although it started in UST around 2002, 2003, almost 20 years na. Pero we still
Mm.
consider it as a new career here in the Philippines kasi nga hindi siya yung usual na career, and also yung approaches niya is somewhat new pa rin when it comes to sports setting. So, basically, yung sports science kasi na course is a broad course. So, kumbaga parang ang daming fields na tinatackle. And strength and conditioning is just one of the fields sa sports science. So, basically for me, since I am a strength and conditioning coach, we are after the scientific way of doing the training for our athletes. So, we do physiological testing to test for the strengths and weaknesses of the athlete, and then based on the test that we do, doon namin ginagawa yung magiging training program ng athlete to address the needs, the weaknesses and then the strengths of the athletes. So yun yung isang part. And then another one is creating a training program for the athlete for them to reach their peak performance during competition. So we try to manipulate different variables so that we know that come competition season or in season, our athletes are at their peak performance. So yun. Another one is isa sa field din na medyo pinaka-BBC-han ko ngayon is on the field of biomechanics. So that is on human movement analysis. So what we're doing there is we analyze human movements and then we try to correct yung mga makikita naming flaws doon sa movement ng individual to make his or her movement efficient and in some way help improve his or her performance doon sa sport na nilalaro niya. So basically yun.
That's very interesting, Coach. Siguro napapaisip lang ako, Phoenix Suns coach no sa NBA, Monty Williams before. He mentioned, alam mo, I don't believe in data, I don't believe, that we need to be this data centric in terms of managing sports and players, load management, when a guy is on the red, dapat wag mo siyang laruin or whatnot, right? Coach, pero your industry, diba, your study talked about, like earlier you mentioned, how do we manage sports, how do we manage the athletes programs better, diba?
Yes.
How does it help, no, na may scientific basis yung mga pag-manage natin sa mga student athletes or even professional athletes natin?
Very timely tong ginawa nating interview, no? Just actually last Friday I had a talk dun sa first strength and conditioning conference here in the Philippines and my topic is on wearable technology. So sabi ko nga in one of my slides or sa presentation, it's all about the numbers. So I was explaining why it's all about the numbers kasi sabi ko anything that you can measure in sports can actually be improved. And tama yung sinabi mo kanina na everything is about data, everything is about numbers, everything is about values. So we actually base the improvement of the athlete based on the numbers that we got from them actually. So merong mga wearable technologies, merong mga tests that we perform, and then from there we can create our baseline data and then we can give an intervention and then later on test again to see if there's a significant improvement doon sa mga binigay namin na interventions or sa performance in general ng athlete. Kaya nga paulit-ulit sinasabi ko sa kanila, hindi pala ganon ang training ng athlete. Talagang it should be very scientific, it should be based on numbers. Para may nakukuha kang result, hindi yung hinuhulaan mo lang kung nasa peak performance yung athlete or marireach ba natin yung goal natin for a specific competition or for a specific tournament. Kasi with numbers, actually, you can already predict if the athlete will perform good, if the athlete will perform, will get a podium finish, or pwedeng hindi ma-reach yung goal because of the numbers na nakukuha namin.
Grabe.
So, paulit-ulit yon. Sinasabi ko lagi with my students and with my colleagues, it's really about numbers. And for example, specific with basketball, na wag mo na lang tignan yung training. But during the game, I also act as one of the analysts nung team. So I usually get the stats and then I'm the one saying do sa isa sa mga assistant coaches namin na this is our rebound, this is our field goal percentage, mga ganyan. So it's really all about the numbers. In order for you to predict if you're going to win the game, if you're going to lose the game, if the athlete's improving or not. So talagang very much around numbers, doon umiikot yung practice namin.
Lance, it kind of reminds me because coach, yung background ko kasi is I was a varsity swimmer dati in high school. So, and even in college, I was in touch with the varsity team as well. Parang nakita namin yung importance ng sports science Kasi you're talking about seconds, you're talking about milliseconds to win the
Mhm.
gold or to get a podium finish, no? I'm just wondering, like, how is it implemented in basketball, which is so siguro it's so there's a lot more variables than time, 'di ba? There's a lot of things that can go your way. The ball can bounce a certain way or what? How do you what do you base it off of?
Basically sa basketball, dalawa yung aspect na tinitingnan mo diyan, eh. There will be
Mm-mm.
numbers based on the game. Ibig sabihin yung mga yung stats ng mismong players na ginagawa during the
Oo.
game, and there will be numbers, on the aspect naman of training. So usually for training, we based it on norms. So kumbaga we follow a certain norm, and then we can say if yung values na nakukuha ng athlete based on our assessment is within that norm, or nasa labas ng norm, or beyond doon sa norm na nakukuha namin. Of course, kami siyempre as a strength and conditioning coach, what we are looking at, dapat the values that we're getting during assessment should be always within the norm, so that we say that our athlete is
Mm.
ready for the competition. Ah, Doon naman sa aspect na sinabi ko kanina based on the stats during the game, it's also a different analysis. One of our assistant coach would always say, and even one of our managers would always say, na if we win the rebound during the game, more or less we can win the game. So kumbaga, the number or the aspect of rebound will actually give you a lot of information if the team can win the game or not. Another one, for example,
Mm.
sa free throws. We were counting the number of free throws made, the number of free throws missed. Doon pa lang masasabi mo na kung bakit ka natalo. Doon mo pa lang masasabi mo na kung yung free throws ba ang nagpapanalo
Mm.
sa'yo. And even the shot selection of players during the game would give you an idea kung mananalo ka or hindi. And one thing na isa pa sa gusto ko ngayon sa basketball, ah, yung stat mismo na binibigay sa amin during after the game would actually give you an idea sino yung 5 best player combination mo na maganda
Uy, yeah,
yung
yeah.
binibigay. Maganda yung binibigay na
Eh,
puntos sa team. So sasabihin niya if
plus
this
minus ba?
5 people, yeah, magkakasama sila, more or less lalamang ka ng ganito. Pag itong 5 na 'to ang combination mo, malaki yung chance dito kayo nalalamangan or dito kayo, nauungusan nung kalaban, parang gano'n.
Mm,
And
mm.
isa pa sa tinitignan namin is the plus minus do'n sa stat na hindi nakikita siguro
Yun.
ng mga ordinary basketball fans. When we say the efficiency of the player, kahit sabihin mo umiscore ka ng sobrang taas, pero ang dami mo rin palang pina-score doon sa kalaban. The efficiency would always tell you na, "Oh, negative ganito 'yan, negative ganyan." So, do'n pa lang alam mo na kung sino yung reason bakit natalo yung team, or kung sobrang taas nung plus naman niya sa efficiency, ibig sabihin napaka-efficient niya kapag pinapasok mo siya inside the court.
Very interesting, coach, no? Because I'm not sure if it's specific to your role with the Growling Tigers, no? Pero ang inisip ko kasi before, a sports staff is actually made of obviously a head coach, assistant coach, may isang strength and conditioning coach, tapos may mga PT, tapos kala ko may mga different analysts pa. But the way you're telling me, coach, is parang naghahalo, no? Nag-intertwine yung strength and conditioning coach role and that analyst role that you mentioned earlier, right? Ganun ba talaga in this career, coach, na may involvement talaga kayo?
Actually, sa yung pagiging analyst sa team is actually a different role. Talagang usually yung mga teams na merong
Got it. Mm.
financial capacity to get an analyst, they usually get talaga an analyst para magbigay ng input
Mm.
with regards to the stats. But for me kasi siguro sa tagal ko na rin sa basketball, kumbaga natutunan ko na rin siya eh. Tapos at the same time, sa tingin ko, that's one of my contribution doon sa team during the game. Kasi syempre, as a strength and conditioning coach, ang role ko is more on the background. So ibig sabihin, in preparation, before the game, ganyan. Nandyan yung role ko eh. But during the game, after my pre-game routines, yung warm-ups, ganyan, after nun, wala na akong gagawin sa laro eh. So,
Got
siguro
it.
over the years, natutunan ko siya na every time or every quarter, actually in the PBA kasi every quarter, they would give you the stats. So ako yung lagi nagre-receive. So parang natutunan ko na siya na binabasa ko siya lagi every after quarter. And then I'm the one reporting doon sa isa sa assistant coach telling him na, eto yung stats natin, eto yung rebounds natin, eto yung field goal percentage natin, eto yung points of turnovers, eto yung mga second chance points natin. So, kumbaga, parang nakasanayan ko na. Ganun lagi ang ginagawa ko every game. Dumating sa point na parang, sige, ikaw na lang assign namin to do the stats and then you report to us ano yung nangyayari, parang ganyan. So, I'm not
That's
actually the
very
one,
interesting.
my main role
Yeah.
during the game, but at least, kumbaga
Mm.
complementary to one of
Ang galing.
our assistant coach,
Yeah.
yung ginagawa ko.
Ganda. Coach, let's say may ma-injure. Halftime, you gotta make a decision to either play him or not. Is that your call?
Actually, in a basketball team, I work with physical therapists. So, we compose actually the sports medicine team. So, usually pag mga injuries, it's the call of the PTs. They have a different role. They
Okay.
have a different assessment that they can perform kapag nagkaroon ng injury. And more or less, they can say if playable yung injury na yon or hindi. And usually kasi, it's a case-to-case basis. Depende kung crucial yung game, kailangan ba siyang palaruin. Siguro yon mga ganun decision. Minsan, iba rin yung approach namin sa ganun. May mga instances naman na no bearing naman yung game. So, sige, pahinga na lang natin pag na-injure. Parang yan, para wala tayong maging problem. So, kumaga yun, it's a case-to-case basis pero it's the physical therapists who are doing the decision when it comes to injury.
Coach, follow-up lang, no? And di ko alam kung pwede niya to sabihin, right? But, kunwari ba, nagka-injury, di ba? Binibintang ba kayo? Ever? Kung hindi prepared or hindi na-stretch or hindi kulang conditioning na tong player na to, or it's always been, it's always the accountability as well of a player for his level of preparedness.
Actually, may mga instances na ganun. Kasi, syempre, as a strength and conditioning coach, you should be the one assigned or responsible for preparing the player doon sa competition. So, kapag nagkaroon ng injury, hindi naman automatic isisisi kagad sa iyo eh. Kasi we usually make an assessment naman eh, paano nakuha yung injury, may history na ba to, or meron bang problem na hindi nasabi sa amin or hindi namin na-address kaya nag-result to that type of injury. Kaya nga, very strict kami right from the start that we do assessment, we do testing to check everything na alam namin that might cause an injury or might lead to an injury in the future. Yun, very strict kami doon. Kaya I work hand in hand talaga with our PTs. So ako on the physical aspect, testing. Yung mga PTs naman is more on assessment doon sa parang pre-participation screening ang ginagawa nila, no? And then, yung mga data na nakukuha namin, we actually combine, we analyze, we synthesize yung mga data, and then, doon kami gumagawa ng parang assessment na, eto yung medyo kailangan i-improve sa athlete na to, eto yung kailangan mong tutukan. And even the PTs are telling me na, Coach, si ganitong athlete, medyo kulang for example, or mahina yung core, so baka pwede mo dagdagan ng konti. Or etong athlete na to, yung position niya would require a lot of rotations, a lot of turning, so might as well prepare him for that type of movement, parang ganyan. So, tapos may mga instances sasabihin nila na parang medyo mabagal gumalaw yung athlete, mabagal yung lateral movement, mabagal yung linear movements, ganyan. So, yun yung mga pinag-uusapan namin na more or less dapat ina-address mo na. So that when you get to the season, I'm not saying mawawala talaga yung risk for injury, but at least you try to minimize the risk for injury. Actually, that's the goal naman of a strength and conditioning coach in any team eh. Yung winning sa amin is just a second goal. But for me, yung role ko as a strength and conditioning coach, my main role is to ensure that the players will finish the season in good health, na walang injury. Kung magkaroon ng injury, very minor, manageable, parang ganun, na hindi na makaka-apekto masyado dun sa team performance.
Mukhang coach ni Zion, Matt. Hindi ata siya inaano, no? Laging mataba si Zion pagpasok ng season. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Coach, would you say that siguro yung staff ba ng UST on the coaching front, no? Would you say that they're much more prepared in a sense, in the sports science sense, like all the data analytics, the rehabilitation, the conditioning and whatnot. Do you think that UST is maybe even more prepared nga than the other universities, or what do you think?
Actually, on that aspect, I think majority of the teams in the UAAP are almost the same. I mean, comparing how UAAP now to when I was with UST for the UAAP nung 2008. That's the first time I was part of the UAAP team ng UST. Sobrang laki ng difference na ng mga teams ngayon compared before. And hindi mo masasabi na because UST has a sports science program, UST has a good physical therapy program, or a good
UST has
medicine
a
program,
hospital.
ganyan, nalamang ka na kagad eh. No, because the other teams
Oo.
are also investing on good coaching staff na kumpleto na rin. Even if you look at LaSalle, if you look at UP, baka nga mas kumpleto pa sila compared sa amin. So there's a lot of factors when it comes to making a basketball team a strong team or a contender for a championship. It's not only about na dahil kilala yung coach mo, automatic magcha-champion kayo, or kumpleto yung coaching staff mo, automatic magcha-champion kayo. Of course, andun pa rin yung paano ba mag-recruit, yung school, blue chip players ba yung nakukuha ng school, or pwede nating sabihin na yung support ba ng school or the support that we get from sponsors are really felt doon sa team. So kumaga, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin kasi na kompleto coaching staff. May magaling na strength and conditioning coach to, or magaling ang PT neto, or magaling ang head coach neto, kilala yung head coach neto, automatic you're going to win the championship. No. Sa basketball ngayon, kumbaga kailangan umabot kayo sa point na lahat ng factors na kakailanganin mo to win a championship, kumbaga nagma-match at the same time. Kumbaga pasok lagi. Sabi nga nila, parang swak na swak yung timpla ng mga factors na yun para makuha mo yung championship.
Coach, quick follow-up lang, no? So, I guess we're talking about like the premier sport which of the UAP, which is basketball. Obviously, volleyball, siguro same rin yung standard of healthcare, of sports science and whatnot, no? Pero in terms of, I guess, in terms of UST, how does it ensure that its athletes in the other sports, so let's say swimming, let's say other track and field, other sports that might not receive as much funding as, let's say, volleyball or basketball, how do you guys ensure that these athletes are also conditioned sufficiently? Di ko lang alam kung may overview ka doon, no? Pero I just wonder how UST does it.
Basically, in UST, I'm happy to know na majority of the other sporting events are also getting strength and conditioning coaches. Like in taekwondo, in judo, what else? Football, I think they have. Kumaga, they also keep up with the scientific way of training eh. Kumaga, hindi lang siguro masyadong napapansin, it's because iba yung emphasis kasi na binibigay to basketball and volleyball. But if you're going to look at the other teams or other sporting events in the UAP, more or less, ganun na rin yung approach nila eh. They have their own strength and conditioning coaches. They have their own PTs, helping the coaching staff achieve their goal for a specific season. So, okay na din. And yung university nga, I mean, in UST in general, already, kumbaga acknowledge na kailangan talaga ng mga additional staff doon sa team that would help them reach their goal for a specific season. So, nag-i-invest din sila to get conditioning coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, physical therapists, and then yung iba nga meron pang sports psychologist and sports nutritionist kasama doon sa team na siguro hindi lang masyadong napapag-usapan. It's because nga mas malaki lang yung emphasis kasi na binibigay on basketball and volleyball pagdating sa UAAP.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Coach, earlier na-mention nyo nga, no, meron ding mga iba na sports nutritionist, psychologist, and whatnot, no? And I think kayo medyo multifaceted yung role nyo, even playing the role of analyst, right? In terms of getting to this role, the S&C coach, no, what were the career transitions or the career movements that you had to do? Or talaga bang, okay, we have Coach Ryle here. He's an assistant professor in UST and he obviously has masters as well. Kunin na agad natin yan, no? Or meron ka munang dinaanan na steps before you became that lead guy in a sports science role for the UST Growling Tigers, which is probably the biggest sports team in UST, right? Paano yun?
Siguro tong kwento na 'to medyo gasgas na do'n sa mga nakakarinig sa akin ano, and even to my
Okay.
students. Kasi lagi ko kinukuwento, this is how I started my career as strength and conditioning coach. So actually, I graduated 2007 sa UST, Bachelor of Science in Sports Science. So, fresh from championship yung UST basketball team. But right after the championship, yung 2007 season
Wow.
nila, there were a lot of injuries. And yung former dean namin sa College of Rehabilitation Sciences in UST was the team physician nung Growling Tigers during that time. So sabi niya, ang daming of course, as the team physician, hindi naman everyday nandun eh. Kumbaga ang pinaka-role niya is kapag may injury, siya yung unang nagche-check on the athletes, parang ganyan. But of course, hindi naman niya kailangan pumunta dun sa practice everyday. So sabi niya sa akin, ilalapit kita kay Coach Pido. You start muna as a volunteer for the basketball team and then try to look ano yung pwede mong gawin to improve yung training, yung mga ganyan, or how can you parang suggest yung mga improvements doon sa training nung Growling Tigers because ang dami ngang injuries. So yun, so parang doon ako nag-start as a strength and conditioning coach. And during that time, sinasabi ko nga lagi to my students, walang naniniwala noon sa sports science. It's because I was the second batch of sports science graduate sa UST. And hindi nila tinitignan talaga ang strength and conditioning as part of the coaching staff or part of the training routine ng isang basketball team. So sige, sinaga ko siya 2008, 2009, sige, tuloy-tuloy lang. I can't really say na nagkaroon ng huge improvement, but somehow siguro may nakuha sila doon sa mga suggestions and recommendations ko during training. Because during that time, I was not a strength and conditioning coach. I was a volunteer. So they have their own strength and conditioning coach during that time na ang tawag nila noon is a trainer. Not a strength and conditioning coach, but a trainer. So, of course, syempre, may ego ng konti. Syempre, hindi papadaig yan na bagong graduate, ang tagal ko na sa basketball, sasabihan mo ako ng ganito, sabihan mo ako ng ganyan. So, medyo mahirap makapenetrate during that time. But, yun nga, sabi ko nga, might as well educate. Kung tanggapin, okay. Kung hindi tanggapin, okay lang din. At least, nasabi ko kung ano yung mga dapat gawin. And then, what happened is, pagdating ng 2010, intact pa rin yung coaching staff no ng men's basketball team. I was given the opportunity to handle the women's team and the juniors team ng basketball sa UST. And doon nakita nung seniors nung nawala ako sa kanila kung gaano kalaki yung improvement ng women's
Yes.
team
Wow.
saka ng juniors team. Kaya sabi nila noon, parang sabi ko noon, eto yung sinasabi ko sa inyo before na pwede nating gawin na parang hindi pa sila ganun ka-open to accept. Pero si juniors at si women's during that time, inaccept nila kaagad yung gusto namin ipagawa. So, I can see improvement in terms of the physical aspect, in terms of sports performance of the players, but hindi pa rin siya talaga enough to win a championship. It's because, gaya nga na sinabi ko kanina, there's a lot of factors na kailangan mong i-consider to win a championship. But in terms of, yun nga, improvement, makitang-kita yung improvement do sa dalawang teams na yon. And then from there, I was recommended dun sa mapunta sa tawag dito semi-pro league sa PBA D-League. So I was hired as a strength and conditioning coach ng Cebuano Luwilier during that time. And we were always in the finals. I'm not saying it's because of me, but of course it's a collaborative effort ng coaching staff and also the players that we got for that team. So kami lagi yung contender ni NLEX Road Warriors for championship sa PBA D-League. And then from there, nung umalis si Coach Pido sa UST, he transferred sa PBA as the head coach ng Global Port. Yun, doon niya ako kinuha ngayon na strength and conditioning coach for Global Port Batang Pier sa PBA. And then up to the point na nag-transition to Northport, nandun na ako, kasama nila ako. And then, yun nga, nung pagbalik nila sa UST, kasama pa rin nila ako sa basketball team ng UST this season. So, yun yung naging journey nun. But, of course, in between, hindi naman puro ganun lang. Sabi ko nga, yung profession namin, it would require continuous education. So, that's why I took my master's. Not only for being part of the academy, but of course, I want to improve my craft as a strength and conditioning coach. And ngayon nga, I'm taking up my doctorate degree to further enhance kung ano yung meron ako. Or to further improve pa yung craft ko as a strength and conditioning coach and also as an academician. So, yun naging journey ko.
Kaya pala, coach, parang napapansin ko kasi pag pinapalitan ang head coach ng isang professional team, parang buong staff niya napapalitan din.
Yes.
I mean, hindi naman lahat, pero marami. And the way you said it, you and Coach Pido go a long way pala, no? Mula pala Northport, or Global Port? Global Port ata? Yeah, Global Port, no? Kaya pala may familiarity rin, no? With who you want to work with na coaching staff. But Coach, by the way, I guess ikaw siguro yung rason kaya nagcha-champion ngayon yung UST Women's natin, no? You've already set the foundation, right? So that's huge. Congratulations for that, Coach. NU was looking unbeatable in their team, right? And yet here you are.
Actually, hindi ako yung reason. Hindi ako yung reason nun, but I'm proud to say that one of our graduates is the strength and conditioning coach, and also my colleague sa Department of Sports Science. He's also teaching in sports science. But ang pwede kong masabi na contribution ko sa women's team, ako yung nag-recommend sa kanya to be part of that.
Nice.
Recruitment.
Tama yung kumaga, hindi ako binigo nung nirecommend ako na sabi ko talaga makakatulong sa kanila. And I think yun nga, yung hard work din na pinakita ni Coach Jay Umali. Yan.
Yeah.
Siya yung strength and conditioning coach ng women's team. Talagang, nagbunga ng maganda.
Ganda. Coach, I wanna ask as well. You've managed a lot of players, probably stars, probably role players, right? And I guess I wanna know, what is your coaching philosophy? In managing all of these players, let's say you get a 5-minute talk or 10-minute talk with them one-on-one. What do you want to specifically impart to them with regards to strength and conditioning? Yung philosophy mo for all kinds of players regardless kung anong status nila sa team.
Actually, hindi ko nga alam hanggang ngayon kung ano ang coaching philosophy ko. Basta ang alam ko lang whenever I was invited to be part of a team or I was hired to be the strength and conditioning coach, lagi lang namin ginagawa is lagi lang ako na to give my best doon sa training program na ginagawa ko, and also to be there for my athlete kapag may kailangan siya in terms of siguro advice, in terms of improvement, ganyan, or kung saan mang aspect nung career niya as an athlete, parang ganon. But specific philosophy, parang wala akong masabi ngayon. I don't know, hindi ko siya masyado pinag-iisipan . Basta ako, whenever I work, I make sure lang na I always give my 100%.
Yeah.
Sabi ko nga sa
Yeah. I guess, Coach, ito na lang. What do you expect from your players? As being a strength and conditioning coach, diba? Kunwari, kay Zion, I guess, wag kang kumain ng ganang karami or don't eat those kinds of foods, right? I mean, do you have those talks with your players, Coach?
Ako, lagi ko sinasabi sa kanila, just believe in the process. Believe in the process, be consistent, and stay faithful doon sa program na ginagawa natin. Sabi ko nga kahit gaano kagaling ang strength and conditioning coach nyo dyan, kahit galing abroad yan, if you're not doing the program consistently, you're following it faithfully, and you're really trusting the process, walang mangyayari sa inyo. Sabi ko, yun ang unang-unang kailangan matutunan nyo as a player. You have to trust kung ano yung pinapagawa sa inyo nung coaching staff or whoever is in the coaching staff. Kasi hindi naman magbibigay sa inyo ng something na ikakapahamak nyo eh. It's always for the betterment of the team, also for your improvement as an athlete. Laging ganun yung sinasabi ko sa kanila.
I do have a follow-up to that, no, Coach? What if it's like a Kawhi Leonard situation, no, where the athlete asks for a second opinion instead of trusting in your expertise, no? Has that ever happened, that particular scenario, no?
Sa akin wala pa naman. Pero siguro it's just normal kasi lalong-lalo na in the pros, usually I don't know if siguro ito, for my personal opinion lang siguro to. In the pros kasi usually syempre mas pinagkakatiwalaan ng mga players yung mga talagang kilala sa industry. And nung nag-start ako, ganun din eh. Medyo mahirap for them to be convinced dun sa gusto mo ipagawa. But you just have to keep on educating them and informing them yung mga purpose or the purpose of the training program or the exercises that you're giving them. So, pag nakikita kasi nila na naiintindihan mo yung pinapagawa mo and nakikita nila that you really care for their careers, talagang darating yung point na sila pa mismo yung lalapit sa iyo eh. Siguro personal experience, pinakamaganda dyan na makakwento is yung nangyari kay Robert Bolick when he had an ACL injury. I mean, of course, fresh from college, champion, ganyan, tapos third draft pick. So, ang taas nung stake talaga ni Robert during that time. And then, of course, first time niya ako nakita doon, syempre, hindi naman ako kilala na strength and conditioning coach talaga. So, parang, I'm not saying he's not following me, but of course, may mga kinukuhanan din siya ng ideas outside. So, syempre, kung sino yung nakasanayan niya na strength and conditioning coach during his time sa San Beda, of course, tinatanong din niya yan, ano yung tama ba yung ginagawa namin, ano yung mga pwede mong idagdag to improve, parang ganyan. Pero, ang ginawa ko kasi sa kanya is, talaga, I try to explain bakit ginagawa to, bakit mo kailangan gawin to, bakit ganyan. And then the injury happened. Tapos, nung pagbalik niya, siya yung unang lumapit sa akin. Sabi niya, Coach, eto yung ginagawa namin na rehab. So, gusto ko ituloy natin. Yun ang ano niya sa akin. Tuloy natin to. Tapos from there, talagang every time, lagi na siyang lumalapit sa akin for program. Coach, ano next natin? Paano natin po-progress tong program na to? Coach, gusto ko ganito ako. Coach, gusto ko ganyan ako. So, kumbaga, it would take time for you para maniwala sa iyo yung player. And it's not unusual na for those players na syempre mas sikat sa iyo, they would get second opinion dun sa mga tao na talaga nakatrabaho na nila before. But you just have to inform them na hindi naman kami nagkakalayo ng iniisip para sa iyo, parang ganon. Kumaga, kung ano yung gusto nung tao na yon, for you to improve, ganun din naman ang gusto kong gawin sa iyo eh. Siguro we may have different approach, pero at the end of the day, it's still for your improvement and for your longevity ng career mo.
Yeah. I guess actually, so basically, Coach, would you say you don't take it personally? Say they look for a different doctor as well, get second opinions?
Yeah, wala namang problem yun. Sabi ko nga eh, kunin nyo lahat ng opinion na gusto niyo, wala namang problem eh.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay.
If they want to follow my program, okay. If you want to follow others' program, okay. Siguro meron lang akong tawag dito, demarcation line dyan. In the pros, sige, pwede. Pero in collegiate level, if you are under my training program, you have to inform me if you're doing other training programs outside. Kasi that would affect yung ginagawa natin. But for the pros, It's your career. Yan yung bubuhay sa'yo. If you want to get supplemental training program outside, inform me. If you want to do it na yun lang talaga, hindi mo gagawin yun sa akin, let me know so that I can inform the management na ito yung ginagawa mo para wala tayong problem. But with the collegiate ranks and of course, dun sa high
Got it.
school level siguro, dyan medyo mas strict ako. If you are under my program, you follow my program first. And then, if you want to do other exercises or drills or trainings outside, you have to inform me so that I know if nagko-complement ba siya doon sa ginagawa natin or
Yep.
hindi. Kasi maraming players, ito problem. Akala nila they're doing trainings outside, always complementary or always for improvement. Minsan kasi hindi nila naiintindihan na pwedeng magkaroon ng mag-clash yung program outside and yung program na ginagawa mo within the organization, parang gano'n. So, yun yung kailangan ipaliwanag mo sa kanila na instead na makakabuti yan, baka mamaya nakakasama siya for you. Kasi
Yeah.
hindi nagma-match yung gusto nating gawin parehas, parang gano'n.
Got it. But I think that's fair, because mahirap na. May mangyayari dyan. Siyempre, kasalanan natin, right? So you got to
Yes.
also be transparent with it, right? Coach, eto naman, no, I want to get maybe a sneak peek. You've mentioned 2007, you've been with UST, but you've moved around as well. Pero among your time, with UST, and there's a lot of legends that came from that program, no? We have obviously now Cabanero, we have Jeric Teng, diba? We have CJ Cancino. Among all of those, coach, who stands out in terms of work ethic, in terms of conditioning? We hear Kobe Bryant having the best conditioning ever, diba? Talagang Mamba mentality pagdating sa pag-training din, right? Among the local athletes, the local student athletes, anyone that comes to mind?
I can say siguro, ang nakita ko kasi talaga na kung paano yung naging improvement or kung paano mag-workout is si Jervy Cruz.
Oh.
Kasi si Jervy
course.
noon was Team B. I was an intern during that time. Of course, hindi siya kilala no kasi Team B pa lang siya. Pero he is always with Team A na players. Pero siya hindi siya sumasabay
Sipag.
doon. Ang ginagawa niya, kasama siyang darating doon sa Sports Science Laboratory. Papaunahin niya yung Team A. Nandun siya sa isang side. Pagtapos na yung Team A, tsaka siya mag-workout. So, kumbaga, hindi mo siya kailangan parang tutukan. So, kumbaga, on his own. Kung kailangan niya magbuhat, magbubuhat siya. Kung kailangan niya mag-workout, mag-workout siya. And I think yun yung naging reason kung bakit naging MVP rin siya nung pagpasok niya doon sa lineup ng UST. But of course, I'm not saying that the other, kumbaga, naging well-known players from UST, hindi ganun, ano. Siguro lang, mas nakita ko kasi yung journey ni Jervy compared to them.
Yep.
Mas direct ako siyang nakilala tsaka nahawakan talaga up to the pro level nung nalipat siya sa Northport. So, very consistent. Kung paano ginagawa niya before up to the pro level, very consistent. Hindi siya yung tipong kailangan ipakita ko sa inyo nag-workout ako. Ako yung tipong tahimik lang sa isang side, buhat dito, buhat dyan, pero makikita mo, he's doing the work na walang masyadong ingay, walang masyadong papansin pagdating dun sa weights training.
Ganda. Awesome. Thank you, Coach, for that insider, no? Coach, I think bago tayo to go to our last part, no? We also asked Larry to share this question. The way he looks at the NBA as a global standard, and the way the NBA probably makes up different regulations. Like now, we have the in-season tournament. Last season, nagkaroon tayo nung parang play-in tournament, right? From a strength and conditioning coach, do you also look in global standards like the NBA and adapt some techniques or principles here and there? No? And if you could shed light to maybe a couple of things that you grabbed from a global perspective.
Yan. Diyan siguro pumapasok yung pagiging researcher ko sa field ng sports science. We don't actually automatically adapt yung mga nakikita naming trends or trends in the field of basketball or in the field of strength and conditioning. Usually, ako kasi, pag may lumabas na bago, I analyze first. Unang-una, pwede ba siya totally adapt? Kumbaga, kayang-kaya ba I mean, do we have the facility? Do we have the manpower? Do we have the financial resources to adapt yung ginagawa nila ngayon abroad or sabihin natin in NBA in general? Or can we do something na pwede naming i-contextualize into a local setting na kumbaga may ginagawa silang ganito and then adapt natin siya pero ibahin natin ng konti para mag-fit sa Filipino setting, parang ganyan. Or totally, hindi natin siya i-adapt, gayahin lang natin kung paano siya ginawa and then subukan natin gumawa ng sariling sa'tin na naka-base doon sa what they're currently doing. So, siguro yung mga ganyan, diyan pumapasok yung pagiging researcher ko. Ina-analyze ko muna yung mga bagay-bagay if puwedeng totally kunin natin, baguhin natin ng konti, or totally gawa tayo ng sarili natin na mas applicable in our setting. Kasi, yan nga yung lagi ko sinasabi with, with our colleagues sa field na lahat ng lumalabas, we want to adapt. Gusto natin lahat gayahin natin. Kailan darating yung time na tayo yung gagawa ng sarili natin na training program or na trend na very Filipino or very applicable in our setting. Kasi baka mamaya yung ginagawa nila abroad,
Nice said.
yes, that could be the standard or that could be the trend, pero hindi naman siya applicable sa atin kasi ang daming factors na kailangan
Tama.
mong i-consider. So,
Tama.
sabi ko, wag automatic. Wag lang grab ng grab. Kaya ikaw wag gano'n. Kailangan i-analyze mong mabuti kung puwede ba siya or hindi. Kasi in the long run, ikaw rin yung mahihirapan 'pag binigla mo yung sarili mo, "Okey, gayahin natin 'to," tapos wala ka naman palang resources, 'di ba? Ang hirap. So, yun. Siguro yun yung advantage ko as, sa strength and conditioning field. I'm also a researcher, so more or less, I know how to analyze yung mga bagong trends na ganyan na lumalabas abroad before I apply it dun sa setting namin.
Ang ganda. Kaya I guess yun nga sinabi ko Matt, no? Parang yung combination ni coach ng academe and practicality. Gandang combination yan eh. A lot of people stop in the academe setting already. Puro theoretical lang pero hindi naman ma-apply, right? So I like it. I like what you're doing, coach. I hope more and more continue to base their programs on research. Diba?
Mhm.
I think that is very important in this industry. I guess, coach, I'm moving on to yung last part of the show, what we call off the record. Basically, some questions about you personally, or maybe some big questions that may or may not be related to your career anymore. No? So,
Mhm.
I would like to start with this, coach. Nung nire-research kita, back in 2021, no? You said this in, I forgot the article, probably Daily Times or Manila Bulletin.
Mhm.
Coach Ryle Espino, chairman of the Sports Science Department of the College of Rehabilitation, noted that Southeast Asian Games have already started their own e-sporting events. Okay?
Mhm.
And sabi ni Coach Ryle, actually, it is a good consideration for the UAAP to keep up with the current trends in terms of the changes in sporting events, obviously esports included.
Mhm.
Coach, can you talk to us about why you mentioned that statement? And I guess, did it unravel today to the satisfaction that you prefer? Or, it could be better.
Actually, pinanggagalingan ko perspective diyan is in terms of sports and gamesmanship, eh. I mean, sabi ko nga, hindi laging, physical 'pag sinabi mong sports. Kasi may mga aspect 'yan that would require mental or aspect that would require fine motor skills or tactics, mga ganyan, na hindi naman kailangan may exertion ng effort. So, I mean, ayokong i-confine kasi yung sporting events or gamesmanship doon sa mga events that would only require physical strength, tawag dito, power, explosiveness. Kasi may mga ibang sports din naman na ibang aspect naman yung advantage nila eh. So, if that is the trend worldwide, 'di ba? Bakit natin hindi i-accept? I mean, we're good in esports. Kung sana hindi. Pwede kong
Oo
sabihin na
nga
wag
eh.
na natin gawin 'yan. But we're good in esports, 'di ba? And
Addict tayo.
umabot 'yan sa point na naging Olympic event siya. So ibig
Yes.
sabihin maraming tao ang nag-isip na kung bakit siya kailangan i-consider as an Olympic event or an Asian Games event or a Southeast Asian Games event. So kumbaga, siguro eto yung isa sa part na masasabi ko na kung pag-iisipan mong mabuti, hindi naman nahuhuli ang Pilipinas, eh. Baka nga nasa ano, eh, advantageous pa sa atin 'yan, eh. Kasi nga isa tayo sa kumbaga, ah, sobrang techy when it comes to, esports or, anything that would require technology or use of smartphones or
Yep.
gadgets or games, mga video games, eh. So, ayun yung perspective ng
Me-
pinanggagalingan ko. So kumbaga, 'wag nating pigilan kung
Yeah.
okey naman tayo, eh.
Meron pa bang sports science sa ganun, coach? Let's say esports like or
Yes,
possibly meron rin?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yung first strength and conditioning coach ng esports natin, which is under kasi siya ng MVP, eh. Yung una naging esports team natin, I'm not sure kung ano yung event nila, if it's, Mobile Legends or NBA or I don't know kung ano yung nilalaro nila, but one of our graduates, Coach Martin Alido, he was one of the first strength and conditioning coach ng esports. And if you're going to look up doon sa article, I'm not sure if anong media outlet yung naglabas nun, but there's actually an article na feature siya as a strength and conditioning coach ng esports. So siguro baka tinitignan natin na, ano ba yan, puro daliri lang naman ginagamit diyan, ganyan, tas naka-cellphone ka lang, wala namang effort masyado, bakit
Oo nga
kailangan pa
eh.
ng strength and
Mata lang yan.
conditioning coach? Actually, hindi ko nabasa yung buong article, but siguro he's the best person to explain bakit kailangan ng strength and conditioning coach sa isang e-sport event. So siguro may mga
Mm.
factors din yan na kailangan mong improve, na kailangan mong tutukan, that would help also improve yung performance ng mga e-sport athletes natin.
Coach, I guess in terms of the people listening right now, like the average corporate person, no, what would you say is the most important metric in terms of understanding how healthy they are? Kasi obviously, now that we're all working, no, in the corporate world, sometimes it's very easy to let yourself go in terms of your fitness, no. Parang let's why not use our data, no, to kind of track that. What would you say is the best way to evaluate your healthiness or fitness level?
I think some of the companies now would have or actually hire not a strength and conditioning coach but a fitness trainer who can actually
Mm.
manage yung health and fitness ng mga employees nila. Also, one of our graduates, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lay Strength, you can search yung Instagram account niya. She's one of
Mm.
our graduates and she focus on corporate setting. So what she does is nag-o-offer siya sa sa mga companies ng fitness program for the employees. So they are the ones going doon sa mismong offices. They
Mm.
set the time, they bring the equipment, they give the training program to the employees. So kumbaga umabot sa point na instead na yung company would give you an incentive na mag-enroll ka sa ganitong fitness center, sa ganitong gym, siya ang ginawa
Mm.
niya, I have a group of people. We can schedule fitness trainings or physical activity to your employees. Ganitong days, ganitong duration per training session. And wala na kayong iisipin. Just give us one room. Dala na namin lahat. Papuntahin nyo yung employees nyo dyan. We will give the training program. And that would be the parang health and fitness activity ng mga employees ng company na yon. So, yun. Siguro,
Pwede yan, ah.
on that aspect, more or less, na I'm happy to know na one of our graduates was the pioneer on that part.
What would you say, what's your opinion on BMI as a way to track your fitness? Do you like
BMI?
it as a metric?
Oh, okay. Actually, medyo subjective kasi si BMI. We're talking, para lang sure, we're talking about body mass index, tama?
Body mass index, yes.
Yeah, medyo subjective kasi yan eh. It's a ratio between your height and your weight. And merong mga exception kasi when it comes to BMI. If you are physically active, if you have health conditions, yung BMI ng mga tao na ganyan would always be subjective. Kasi
Right.
kasi nga ratio siya eh. Sa amin, ang metric na tinitignan namin, ako I think mas applicable is yung ideal body weight of the individual. Yung waist circumference, that could be a good metric. Another one would be yung, instead of weight loss, it's more of the fat loss or the body fat percentage of the individual. Kasi yung mga metrics na yan, mas sinasabi niya kung ano yung talagang status ng individual. Not as compared with BMI na kapag maliit ka, bumigat ka ng konti, pero yung pagbigat mo pala, it's because you're a health buff or a gym buff, puro muscles pala yon. So, basically, your BMI will increase. So, sabihin yan, or overweight ka, pero yung pala, overweight ka, it's because of an increase in muscle mass. Or, meron namang iba na may condition na hindi sila pwede bumaba sa ganito na weight. So, they have to maintain a specific weight, parang ganyan. Sabihin natin, short stature. So, when you compute for the BMI, umaangat siya. So, di ba, parang, ay, pangit BMI nito, overweight to or obese to. So, medyo subjective siya. Kaya ako, mas tinitingnan ko is the body fat percentage of the individual. Yan, the waist circumference, and the ideal body weight na kailangan niya ma-achieve.
Yeah.
Yan,
nabigyan mo ako ng
rin
hope doon,
titingnan ko.
coach, ha? Nabigyan mo ako ng hope doon, coach, kasi yung BMI ko, nung last exam ko, overweight ako eh. But I'd like to think, muscles yun. No?
Wow.
Actually, parehas tayo dyan. Kasi ako ganyan din. Ako, medyo maliit ako. Tapos, syempre, nag-workout ako. So, pag nag-check ka talaga ng BMI, medyo mataas. Pero ngayon, because of the pandemic, medyo nabawasan physical activity. Siguro baka nga talagang mataas na ngayon para sa akin. Pero before, medyo
right. Yeah.
Yun.
And I've heard from my doctor na sister na yung BMI kasi kapag Asian standards, medyo mababa daw kasi talaga eh. Kaya parang overweight ka talaga no matter what you do, right? I'm just rationalizing here, no? Kasi
daming excuses,
Ang daming excuses, no? Ang daming excuses. Okay, Coach, I guess last one for me, and maybe Matt, you can also ask last one, no? Coach, you've done this, you've been in this career, and we've also seen that pioneering spirit in you within UST, right? And especially in sports science, human movement, human science, right? For you specifically, what do you think then should the government do to make this sports science field more prominent, more important, more respected in this country from a national level, no? Para hindi lang puro university level yung talks natin dito.
Medyo mahirap na tanong yan. At saka, marami tayong makabangga dyan. Pero, just to give you, actually, may move naman na ginagawa yung government, like with the establishment of the National Academy for Sports. Yung mga nag-start din dyan was our graduates. Sila rin yung nag-create nung academy na yan. So, sa tingin ko naman, in terms of sports, maski pa paano, there's an improvement naman from the trainings na ginagawa ng government. Medyo marami kasing factors pa rin eh. Ako lagi ko sinasabi, kailangan yung nasa taas should be open-minded with regards to the type of training na kailangan ipagawa doon sa mga athletes natin. Ang sinasabi kong example lagi is Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia. Sabi ko nga, mas magagaling ang atleta natin kaysa dyan eh. Pero how come pagdating ng Southeast Asian Games, nandun sila sa taas. Pagdating ng Asian Games, mas marami pa rin yung medals nila compared to us. Pero yung knowledge, yung training, sabi ko mas angat tayo kaysa kanila. Pero tingin ko kasi mas in-embrace ng mga higher authorities sa kanila kung paano kailangan i-improve yung training do sa mga national athletes nila. Isang comparison na lang dyan is the equipment that they have compared to us. I mean, we have equipment sa UST, but we don't have those equipment sa Philippine Sports Commission. So, yun pa lang ang laking question eh. Bakit yung university may ganyan, whereas the National Sporting Authority, walang ganon. Whereas when you go to Thailand, from university all the way to their parang athlete center, talaga National Athlete Center, same ang facility, same ang researchers na meron sila doon. So I think yun yung difference eh. So malaking factor dyan kung paano i-accept nung nasa higher ups yung changes na kailangan gawin when it comes to training. And then it has to be cascaded from up going down. Kasi hindi pwedeng sa baba nagbabago ka pero yung mga taong nasa taas, they are not willing to accept those changes na nangyayari sa baba. So it has to be from up going down. So siguro darating din yung time na yung mapupunta rin dyan sa Sports Commission natin mas open and mas kayang i-embrace yung changes when it comes to scientific training. I mean, we all have the people who thinks on how to improve the training program. Siguro yung mag-a-accept na lang ng mga sinasuggest na yan ang kailangan ma-improve pa natin. And also, yun nga, minsan kasi medyo nahaluan ng konting politics, but of course, if you are really into, improvement of the athlete, you have to set aside those things kasi sa sports dapat wala ngang ganun eh. You always look at the improvement and of course the longevity ng career ng athlete.
Exactly.
Kaya nga a lot of our athletes are also going like abroad also, so that they can kind of compete more competitively,
Yeah. Diba, Matt, EJ Obiena told us that one, diba? I mean, the support, man. The support.
Yeah.
The technologies are all there, diba?
Muntik pa siya change nationality.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, sabi ko nga sa kanila, diba, if you're going to look at those successful athletes, di ba sila nag-iisip bakit lahat ng mga gagaling na atleta natin na nire-represent ang Philippines, hindi sa Pilipinas nagte-training. Example, Alex Ayala.
Yeah.
Alex Ayala is here in the Philippines. Si Alex, by the way, I handled her when she was 13 years old na nagsisimula siya. Before siya lumipat to Rafa Nadal Academy, I was her strength and conditioning coach. So, from simula nung nabigyan siya ng scholarship ni Rafa Nadal, doon na siya talaga nag-train abroad. So, same with EJ Obiena. He is from UST, pero he is training now abroad. Diba? Parang sabi ko nga, if you're going to analyze, bakit yung mga top athletes natin, lahat nasa abroad? Diba? Hindi ba natin kayang gawin dito sa Pilipinas yan? So I think kaya naman natin eh. But yun nga, may mga factors ka lang natitignan that serves as parang mga challenges and hindrances sa atin on how to make this athlete improve doon sa career nila. Diba? Ano ba meron sa abroad na wala tayo? Baka yung knowledge, parehas lang naman. Equipment siguro pwedeng lamang sila. Pero kung gugustuhin natin gawin dito sa Pilipinas yun, kaya natin gawin yun. Di ba? Hindi naman tayo papadaig sa ganyan eh. Gagaling ng mga tao natin dito sa Pilipinas. Di ba?
One last question, no? Let's say you're talking to the latest batch of, let's say, the sports science graduates. If they wanted to become like strength and conditioning coaches, what would you say is the sport you would push them into that needs more siguro focus or emphasis from the strength and conditioning? That's not, the popular sport lang na basketball, volleyball, diba?
Actually, halos lahat namang ng sports that would require effort and exertion of effort or power, explosiveness, or those sports na hindi
Right.
naman kailangan on the other aspect na more on endurance, lahat naman yan kailangan ng strength and conditioning coaches eh.
Oo.
I think I had a talk with them before. Ang lagi ko lang sinasabi sa kanila, pumasok kayo sa field na 'to, you can't stop learning. Hindi ka puwedeng tumigil. So,
Mm.
always bear in mind na yung gagawin mong practice, it's not about you, kumbaga inaangat mo yung sarili mo sa field na 'yan. Kailangan bago yung sarili mo, pagalingin mo muna yung atleta mo. Kumbaga lahat ng
Mm.
gagawin mo, it's always about your athlete. And then
Right.
yung kung gusto mo sumikat, susunod na lang yon. It's because gumagaling yung athlete mo, na-associate ka sa athlete na yon, 'di ba? Diyan darating yung time na kung gusto mong maging kilala sa field na 'yan, makikilala ka rin. But unang-una lagi, it's always the the athlete. Kumbaga, it's always the betterment, improvement of the athlete ng lagi mong gagawin. Tas yun nga, you can't stop learning kasi every year, every 2 years, every 5 years, there's a new trend. So you have to keep on parang adapting to those changes in with regards to strength and conditioning. And sabi ko nga sa Pilipinas, baka masyadong mataas ang tingin niyo sa strength and conditioning coach na 'pag pumasok ka malaki kaagad ang sweldo mo, no. Gaya ko nga sabi ko I started as a volunteer, sabi ang tawag ko nga dun before is gawad kalinga. Bakit gawad kalinga? Kasi pumapasok ka, tumutulong ka, pero wala ka namang nakukuhang sweldo ron. Pero sabi ko, siguro it's my passion, kasi talaga nasa field ako ng sports ever since. Sabi ko, I know kung ano yung kailangan ng mga atleta, and since andito ka na, I have the capacity to help. So sabi ko, before mo tignan kung kikita ka diyan or hindi, tignan mo muna kung ano yung puwede mo munang maitulong, and then from there hayaan mo silang magbigay sa'yo ng parang value mo doon sa services na ginagawa mo sa kanila. Some of them might look at you na very valuable, mataas ang ibibigay sa yung salary. Some of them hindi ka masyadong papansinin. But still at the end of the day, regardless kung malaki, maliit ang sinusweldo mo, yung service na ibinibigay mo sa kanila, it should always be the same. Should always be for the improvement of the athlete.
Ganda. Ganda. Coach, that's actually all the questions that we have. Thank you. Thank you for, just sharing to us this field in sports science, and especially, medyo mas naging hopeful ako para sa industriya nito, right?
Yes.
I'll tell my cousin Miles to actually put in the work, right? Malay ba natin?
Yes.
Di ba? This career, I think, needs to be more out there, especially with all of the other medicine fields as well, di ba?
Mhm.
Very, very interesting. Coach, I guess anything that you're excited about that you wanna share before we end the show?
Siguro nasabi ko na rin lahat kanina, eh. So, I think for those who want to practice the profession of being a strength and conditioning coach, yun lang. You have to keep on learning, keep on studying, work hard. Siguro isa sa pinakamalaking factor diyan is yung grit, sinasabi nila
Yep.
na kahit nahihirapan ka na gumising, but still you're there because you have a responsibility to your athlete. So, sabi ko nga nasanay na ako dun sa sa mga walang holidays, walang weekends, kasi usually diyan pumupunta yung mga sporting events, eh. Pero sabi ko gano'n siguro, gano'n talaga ang trabaho nung isang strength and conditioning coach. But at the end of the day, yung passion mo talaga to help the athletes, yun pa rin yung mangingibabaw, eh.
Thank you, Coach. Offbeat, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you once again to Coach Ryle Espino. And of course, let's give our best support to the UST Growling Tigers as well, as they bounce back after, let's just say, a kind of rocky start, in Coach Pido's re-arrival in UST, Coach, good luck to your upcoming season again, and thank you again for joining us in this show.
Okay, maraming salamat for the invitation.